But it's bounding away, and Pre-Catalan coming to the line, locked together. Bounding away, goes home a little bit the better, and bounding away won the slipper. Wide out, I think, getting up the run second will be Just Blooming. Third, either Pre-Catalan or Imperial Baron, and then Sea Swell, Scotch and Dry, followed by Bataan. Breakfast Creek weakened out of it, well back Christopher, and then Maya Card at the head of the others. Bataan, Captivan, Hater Prince, Hit It Star, followed by Western Ace. Dreams Delight second last, and Magic Flute has run a shocker to finish last in the Tooheys Golden Slipper of 1986. A champion filly has won the slipper, trained by a champion trainer and handled impeccably by a champion jockey, and what possible better combination could you want than that? Bounding away, Mick Dittman and TJ Smith, the winning ingredients for a golden slipper. What a run Pre-Catalan from a very wide barrier. What a run Imperial Baron, who all but fell in the first 200 metres of the race in a roughly run slipper. Mick Dittman using the whip with gay abandon on the little grey filly and bounding away with a heart as big as herself. Headed Pre-Catalan in the shadows of the post. Another filly, Just Blooming, charged down the outside to get second. Tommy Smith, ever exuberant, ever confident before the race, and I'll bet he's pretty pleased after the race. Ray, have you got him there?
Well, TJ, congratulations to you. You said she'd win by 3 lengths. She didn't get there by that much, but she won.
She got the judge's number.
Congratulations. Would this be your biggest thrill in racing?
Yes, easily.
The fact that you not only train the filly, but you own her.
Yes, I've had a mother for 23 years. A grandmother, 23 years ago aboard her.
And was it a plan of yours to put this the dam of the winner to the stallion?
Yes, I decided to put this mare to Biscay because she's bred on Nasrula's lines, and I thought it'd be very good. My wife is leading her in, and Gay, too.
Good on you, TJ. Congratulations to you. Obviously a very exciting day for the whole stable. Congratulations. Tommy Smith, now the congratulations fly everywhere behind us as TJ's wife goes out to lead the winner, bounding away back in Tappy. And I don't think I've seen such exciting scenes here until we saw the silver slipper as Mrs. Smith comes over to congratulate her husband. Back to you, Tappy.
OK, Ray, gee, it was an exciting race. I'm still shaking. Golden slippers get me that way. I must confess, I think it's the fact that it's, as one man described it, 70 seconds of thoroughbred madness. They come out of that barrier at 100 miles an hour. There is no margin for error, as we saw in the early stages of that, with jockeys desperately looking for prominent positions. Interference is rife. There was a real stack-up at the end of 150 metres or so, the chief sufferers being Imperial Baron and Captivan, who was knocked almost off her feet. Obviously, there'll be a lengthy steward's report after the running of the race, and probably the stewards will be able to pin the blame to somebody. But it was a pretty roughhouse slipper. Pre-Catalan, owned by George Moore. Here are the numbers, by the way. 10, 14, 4. Bounding away. Just Blooming has run second. Imperial Baron has run third. Pre-Catalan in front everywhere but the last 20 or 30 metres. Eventually missed the place, but only by inches. And do you think there wasn't a run in the race by the 5th place getter, Sea Swell, which finished about a length and a half from the winner, was a clear last out of the barrier, and was still near enough to last as the field turned into the straight. And I suppose this rather lightly framed little horse would have been no more than a length and a half to 2 lengths from the winner when the judge called a halt. His run was sensational, Sea Swell. But by the same token, there were lots of good runs in the race, and none better than the mighty filly bounding away. It's Mick Dittman's second slipper, by the way. He won on full-on aces in the year of 1981. So Mick's had the great pleasure of greeting the judge twice in this famous 2-year-old event. Mrs. Valerie Smith and daughter Gay absolutely elated as they lead bounding away back into the enclosure. And as Tommy Smith said to Ray Hadley a short time ago, as the breeder, owner and trainer of the winner of the Golden Slipper, it's been easily his biggest thrill in racing. Mike, you can imagine how he feels.
I can, Johnny. A gutsy win by a gutsy filly, although if Mick Dittman was whacking me on the backside, I'd give that bit extra too. He certainly gives them heaps. We'll be back with plenty more.
Racing, and Pre-Catalan got the best of the start, bounding away, and Captivan came out speedily, and so did Breakfast Creek, and they're followed by Just Blooming. Magic Flute is putting on brilliant early pace, and they're followed by Western Ace, Imperial Baron. Then a gap, Dreams Delight, Just Blooming easing back on the inside of Hit It Star, and then came Christopher, being passed by Bataan, and then Sea Swell, who's well back. They're followed by Scotch and Dry and Mayo Card and Hater Prince. dropped out last. 700 to go. Pre-Catalan taken on by Breakfast Creek. Two in advance of Bounding Away, and then Magic Flute, and they're followed by Imperial Baron racing home well along the rail. Western Ace and Captive Van and Dreams Delight, Just Blooming, Hit It Star. Then a gap to Sea Swell, and they're followed by Bataan and Christopher Well back, followed by Scotch and Dry. Hater Prince is next to last, and Mayo Card. Pre-Catalan led, but Breakfast Creek is putting in a one. Imperial Baron looking for the middle split now. Bounding Away is coming at them on the outside. Imperial Baron trying to get through that split. Bounding Away coming at Pre-Catalan. Imperial Baron still trying to get that split, but now Bounding Away coming at Pre-Catalan. Captive Van, and down the outside is Just Blooming, and Sea Swell. Pre-Catalan joined by Bounding Away. Bounding Away in front, down the outside, Just Blooming, but Bounding Away has beaten Just Blooming. Pre-Catalan Imperial Baron third, and then Sea Swell. They're followed by Scotch and Dry, Bataan. Captive Van, Western Ace, followed then by Breakfast Creek, Mayo Card. Then a gap, Hater Prince, who's well back, followed by Christopher. A long way, Dreams Delight, followed by Hit It Star, and Magic Flute back amongst the tail enders. Stand by on the Golden Slipper. A terrific finish, Bounding Away and Just Blooming, with Pre-Catalan or Imperial Baron taking the third money. Now, that's how I saw it. Whether it'll go that way or not, there could be a doubt about the third, but Bounding Away, Just Blooming fighting out the win. Pre-Catalan and Imperial Baron, a toss-up there for the minor third. Well, she certainly did it the hard way. She was, as they reported in the press, almost a sunken filly when she had trouble swimming last Sunday. And then she played up at the start. The heat had some effect on her. She cast a plate, and she's shown tremendous tenacity to, in my opinion, just take it out from Just Blooming, who was the big bolter. Number 10 is the winner, Bounding Away, ridden by...
Line looks better now. Racing in the slipper. Sea Swell on the inside, a little slow. Scotch and Dry and Maya Card also dropped back, and Pre-Catalan the early leader from Bounding Away. Captive Van the third, Magic Flute improving, so's Breakfast Creek, Western Ace. Behind those horses next as they settle fully into stride, Imperial Baron, Dreams Delight, then Maya Card, followed by Hit It Star, a length and a quarter. Sea Swell over on the inside of Christopher. Further back as they go up to approach the first corner was Scotch and Dry. A good margin away, Maya Card and Hater Prince, and Bataan fourth last. 700 to go. Pre-Catalan three quarters, Breakfast Creek. Two Bounding Away, a length, Magic Flute, Imperial Baron, followed by Western Ace, Captive Van, Dreams Delight, Just Blooming. Then Sea Swell, Hit It Star, Bataan, Christopher, followed by Scotch and Dry, Hater Prince, and Maya Carter's last. Straightening up in the slipper, Pre-Catalan just the leader. Bounding Away on the outside, coming after Pre-Catalan, Imperial Baron trying to get clear, and then Breakfast Creek and Captive Van. Pre-Catalan being taken on by Bounding Away. Imperial Baron behind them, not getting much room, and then Just Blooming. Bounding Away's taken the lead narrowly. It's Bounding Away coming away, and Bounding Away wins it. Bounding Away from Just Blooming, and on the inside Imperial Baron, then Pre-Catalan, followed by Bataan. Further back Scotch and Dry, Sea Swell, Breakfast Creek, Christopher, Captive Van, Maya Card, Western Ace. Then came Hit It Star, Hater Prince, Dreams Delight second last, and Magic Flute was last.
10 Bounding Away, 95 and 60. Number 14, Just Blooming, 355. Number 4, Imperial Baron, 90. Extra double, 13 and 10, 49 even.
Number 10, Bounding Away, by Biscay from Who Can Say, trained by Tommy Smith at Randwick for himself, bred by Tommy and ridden by Mick Dittman, a grey filly, 2 years. Started from barrier 8 when the reserves came out, jumped well, had a real job to get away from Pre-Catalan. Imperial Baron was behind those two horses trying to get out. And I reckon that Jay Cassidy might have had a hard luck tale to tell on Imperial Baron. We stand by for the full placings in the Golden Slipper Stakes of 1986, in which victory has gone or will go to Bounding Away. Just Blooming has flashed home. What a great performance by the Black Opal winner.
There was a little bit of a scuffle up between a couple of top-line riders, and there'll certainly be big news to come out of the slipper over the weekend, and we'll keep you posted during the rest of the day. This is the Diners Club Cup, and Ray Hadley checks the approximate win totes.
John, let's have a look at them from the top. Bow Kingdom at 13-2, Affected at 33-1, Chanticleer at 5-2. Now Vari's Ace opened up around 12-1, 9s, and then into 7-1. The tote, Eye of the Sky a little easy at 7-1, Most Impressive 16, Sea Pitches at 3-1. Gifted King has been well supported in the ring and on the tote, into 5-1 now in fact. Max Treasure at 40-1 and Avon's Glory at 100-1. John, further to that report you just tabled, I haven't had the chance to talk to you, but I've also had that confirmed. There was an altercation in the jockeys' room. The stewards will be holding an inquiry into that later in the day, and I'll have more news for you, hopefully, as the day progresses.
Good, Ray. Well, obviously, it's in reference to the very noticeable interference in the early stages of the slipper. In fact, I watched the replay again a couple of times, and the two chief sufferers were Imperial Baron and Captivan. And the riders of those two horses apparently were not too happy with another prominent jockey immediately after the running of the event. Bruce Compton's mount in the race coming up is Gifted King, a last start winner on this track in impressive fashion, and Ray Hadley spoke with Bruce a little earlier.
Well, Bruce, it was a pretty good front-running performance last start.
Yes, it certainly was, and I was really thrilled with his run last time, and he's trained on well since, and I hope he runs accordingly today.
He's up in class, but to counteract that, he's on the limit.
Yes, he's 50s. No, it's real good. Not only that, the only other thing I suppose the concern is last week there was nothing to take me on in front. Today there is a couple that could take me on, and that would be my only concern at this stage.
Do you have to lead?
Now, more than half the field has been positioned. We're just waiting for Gifted King to move up into the gates. I notice he's wearing a tape on both hind fetlocks, Gifted King. Chanticleer about to move in. He won the Hobartville Stakes recently at Warwick Farm. Sea Pictures goes in, and we're waiting on Eye of the Sky and Affected racing in blinkers yet to move up. Affected is raced by Noel Barker, who was unaffected by a heavy fall at Warwick Farm last Tuesday. Noel bounced back. He actually rode a winner at Canterbury on Wednesday, and he's had a few rides here today at Rose Hill, so he must be as tough as teak. Now, the starter about to mount his rostrum and release the field in the fifth of the day, the Diners Club Cup, on this memorable program of racing. Max Treasure has the inside gate, ridden by Darren Beedman. Darren is due to leave for France, I think, tomorrow. Gates open. Off and running, and Bow Kingdom a little bit slow to move at the start. So was Avon's Glory, and bouncing out in front, Gifted King went straight to the lead over Chanticleer, followed by Max Treasure. Eye of the Sky getting into a prominent place. Affected out deep as rushing up towards the lead, and then Most Impressive. Most Impressive got a nasty check at that stage of the race. Further back, Vari's Ace. Avon's Glory second last, and Bow Kingdom as last as they race down the back towards the first corner. Approaching the 1,000 metres mark, and Affected whipped around the outside to take up the running over Gifted King. And away, Chanticleer on the outside. Eye of the Sky 3 deep and can't get in, followed by Vari's Ace. On the fence, Max Treasure, a length and a half to Sea Pictures, then Most Impressive, followed by Avon's Glory and Bow Kingdom. 700 out there, packed up tightly, and Gifted King again has raced up on the outside to take a narrow lead from Affected. Chanticleer getting the run of the race third. A length and a half, Eye of the Sky, who's worked hard in the race. He's never been on the track. And then Vari's Ace on the fence, Max Treasure, Sea Pictures hard ridden. Further back, Most Impressive, and then Bow Kingdom and Avon's Glory as they turn, and flattening for the run home. Chanticleer on the outside, cut loose and raced up to head Gifted King and Affected. Eye of the Sky running on strongly on the outside. Sea Pictures pulled out, putting in his run, approaching the 200 mark, and Eye of the Sky headed Chanticleer. Sea Pictures looming up though, looks the big danger. Sea Pictures coming at Eye of the Sky. Chanticleer boxing on strongly. Sea Pictures took the lead close to home, and he's starting to draw away in the last bit. He's too good, Sea Pictures, and Sea Pictures beat Eye of the Sky with Chanticleer third, fourth Max Treasure, then Vari's Ace, Most Impressive, Gifted King, well back Bow Kingdom and Affected, and tailed off Avon's Glory. Another one to Brian Mayfield Smith, another one to Jim Cassidy, and I suppose it was some small consolation for the defeat of Imperial Baron in the Golden Slipper, because that horse was severely interfered with in the early stages of the race. In fact, he went close to falling. Sea Pictures has been a most consistent performer, doesn't win very often, but he rarely runs a bad race, and he was deserving of today's success. Sea Pictures from the Mayfield Smith stable, and you've got to say now that Mayfield Smith has got the Trainers' Premiership all sewn up because he's some 10 or 11 wins in front of Tommy Smith. Neville Beggs in second place. I think he's about 7 or 8 wins in arrears, but Mayfield Smith absolutely killing him, and so is Jim Cassidy. As far as the Jockeys' Premiership's concerned, you can put away the glasses. Sea Pictures by Rollet, an imported English sire out of a mare called London Vista, today was having his 21st start. He's won 6 of them. And Mike Gibson, he's a pretty useful conveyance. See pictures.
Yes, Tappy, and ridden a treat, as you say, by Jimmy Cassidy, who was so confident. Now, as you say, you feel like backing him no matter what he throws his leg over. We'll be back in a moment with more on what
stakes. And Tappy, he's the man who had the honour of riding the first slipper winner, Todman.
Yes, Ian, you're so right. Back in 1957, one of the greatest jockeys ever produced in Australia, killed in a race fall in France in 1962. This race is named in his honour. Ray, what are they betting on the tote?
Let's have a look from the top. John, So Vague at 5 to 1. Amlock, the Kiwi horse at 5s. Great Estate at 12 to 1. Puckle Harbour opened up 10s into 8s, now into 13 to 2. Calaboose 5 to 2, out to 3 to 1. Bill Bangira 13 to 2. Golzama 11 to 1. Palazam 30s, the Challenge 40s. Swift Courier at 80s and Sir Geraint 11s. John, we discussed the possibility of an incident in the jockeys' room after the Golden Slipper. I've been able to confirm with the Chairman of Stewards that 2 leading jockeys were involved in an altercation after the Golden Slipper. There will be an inquiry into that incident, and I believe punches were traded.
OK, Ray, that's big news indeed, and we'll have more of that later. Graham Cooksley is one of the big contingent of New Zealand jockeys in Australia at the moment. He's riding Amlock in this race coming up, and Ray spoke with him earlier.
Well, Graham, welcome to Australia. Great to have you here. Amlock, what can you tell us about the mare?
Oh, she's a good mare, but as I said, 2,000 metres is a little bit too short for her, but further she goes, the better. But she is on the fresh side at the moment. She's been working good, so she's in with a good show.
Yeah, she hasn't started for 3 weeks. That'll be in her favour, I guess.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
In New Zealand, is she rated as one of the better mares over there, or is she above average?
She's one of the better mares, over ground. Like she's won 2 Group 3 races in the last 4 starts over there, so she's around 3rd, and I'll wait for her age mile and a half, so she goes pretty good.
Where does she race? Up near the lead or back off it a bit?
She usually gets back a little bit.
But she comes home pretty stoutly.
Yeah, comes home pretty good.
Graham, great to have you here in Sydney. The very best of luck.
Thanks very much.
We'll see some action at any tick of the clock in the Neville Sellwod Stakes Race 6. The white flag in the air. Now it's down, and that indicates that they're off and running, and they'll be coming into view at any moment. And here they come now, and it's a great race for the early lead. Sir Geraint is sharing it with Beal Bangara, and right up there with them Puckle Harbour, followed by Calaboose, the Challenge, and trapped out very deep is Great Estate, who must be the best part of 5 or 6 wide in the early stages. At the head of the others then is Golzama. Amlock is out deep, followed by So Vague, and then Swift Courier. And Palazam had dropped out to be last. They're about to sweep to the back now, and with about 1,500 metres left to go, the Challenge went to the lead under a good hold, about a half length on Great Estate. Running 3rd is Calaboose, and 4th on the rails Beal Bangara, followed by Puckle Harbour. Amlock is out 3 and 4 wide, followed by Golzama, then Sir Geraint, So Vague, Swift Courier second last, and Palazam last as they head down the back to the 1,200 mark. They're chopping and changing. Great Estate went to the lead now to be tackled in turn by Amlock on the outside, and the 2 Kiwis make the pace down the back of the track. In 3rd place, the Challenge on the inside of Calaboose. A length to Golzama, getting a nice run. 1 horse off the fence, and there goes the top weight, So Vague. So Vague letting loose 3 deep around the outside, made a lightning move, and soon after So Vague had raced up to hit the front at the 800 mark over Great Estate, followed by Amlock. Calaboose on the outside, taking closer order, and then Puckle Harbour further back, the Challenge, followed by Golzama, Sir Geraint, Beal Bangara lost ground. Swift Courier second last, and Palazam last as they near the turn. They've got 500 to go, and So Vague, 1 horse off the fence, again is joined by Great Estate. They come around the turn together. Calaboose makes a line of 3, and then Amlock and Puckle Harbour tracks them into the straight, followed by Golzama and Swift Courier. Heads a turn for home now, and on the outside Calaboose had raced up to take a narrow lead at the 200 over Great Estate. So Vague is battling on. Amlock is getting a rails run, but inside the 200 mark, gee, there are some chances here. It's Calaboose, So Vague, Amlock getting a rails run, and look at Palazam down the outside, and Puckle Harbour there too, and Beal Bangara. Beal Bangara burst through between horses, and Beal Bangara got there. Beal Bangara got up to win. Placing's very close. You've got Amlock, So Vague, Puckle Harbour's up there in that photo. Close handy Swift Courier, Palazam on the extreme outside, and then Great Estate followed by Golzama. Sir Geraint well back, and the Challengers last of all. Well, Beal Bangara has split horses, only appeared in the last 70 or 80 metres, but was coming away on the line to score by a clear-cut margin. And that was one of those crazy races where it was impossible to try and predetermine the winner until the last little bit, when Beal Bangara just burst out of nowhere and put the issue beyond doubt in one stride. Ridden by Noel Barker, and it's a winning double to TJ Smith, who won the Golden Slipper earlier with Bounding Away. Beale Banger is a hardy horse. He's a Queenslander originally. Came to Tommy Smith last spring. He went to Perth over the big Christmas New Year carnival. He had a short break, not long, and he's back in action again now. Now, watch this here. They're all over the place. We've got Calaboose, So Vague. Amlock got a rails run. Oh, there's a bad interference suffered by Great Estate. The New Zealand horse got crowded and he was knocked right out of the race. Beale Bangara suddenly dived between Amlock and So Vague. Puckle Harbour was running on. Right down the outside, both Swift Courier and Palace Ammo, and have a look at them as they go over the line. A handicapper's dream, really. Usually when you get finishes like that, the form can prove to be very, very topsy-turvy. I'd be inclined to be very careful of the form displayed in the Neville Sellwod Stakes. Well, I think it's always lovely to witness the presentation ceremonies after the running of big races, because you can capture the immediacy of the excitement and the elation of winning owners, trainers, jockeys. And this is what happened at the presentation after the Golden Slipper.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Well, what a wonderful race that was. I think that Tommy Smith's got the lot, apart from Mick Dittman's prize. But what a record. It's his 5th. He bred, owned and trained the horse, and it's also Mick Dittman's 2nd, of course. The last, I think, was 1981. But it's a most extraordinary record. So now it's a great pleasure for me to start handing out the prizes to Tommy Smith. Tom, this is a new one, as you know. It's got the slipper on it this time.
That's good, too.
Congratulations.
Good idea. Mr. Prime Minister, Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, STC, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've been racing horses a long time, and I don't think I've got a better thrill than I've got here today. It's great to be not only the trainer, but I own the horse, I bred the horse, and the only thing I haven't done is not riding it. Mick Dittman's doing that part of the work. Congratulations, Mick, on a great ride.
Now I invite His Excellency to present to Mick Dittman his trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the moment, Mick Dittman.
Thank you very much. Thank you much a lot.
Yeah, very, very pleased. Very pleased.
Great effort.
Thank you very much.
You're going to say a couple of words? Thanks.
Your Excellency, Mr. Jim Fleming, members of the STC, ladies and gentlemen. Well, firstly, I'd like to say thank God it's over. Never have I felt as much pressure in any race. And what a great job the filly has done to be able to win. Thank you to my wife. She's been great support right throughout, especially this last week. I don't think I've been the easiest man to live with. And last but not least, I'd like to say congratulations to Tommy's wife, Valerie. She must be very pleased, and also to his daughter, Gay. Thanks again to the filly. Thank you.
And so emotions were running high after the Tui's Golden Slipper for 1986. Tommy headed straight to the champagne bar. Mick Dittman went back to the jockey's room, and he might have got more than he bargained for when he went back in there, Ian. We'll hear more about that later.
Yes, we've seen the presentation. We haven't heard who won the fight yet, Tappy, but hopefully later on in the show we'll find that out. Still, 60 grand to Mick Dittman. That'll ease a bit of the pain for him. In a moment, we'll come back with Sparksy's look at the Grand Prix starting. Well, there's nothing wrong with the prize money in racing. We're going out to Rosehill now for the Tancred Stakes. $500,000 worth, Tappy.
Sure is, Ian, and this race has gathered popularity and momentum in recent years. It's named after a great old bloke and a man who made an amazing contribution to racing in Sydney, the late Harry Tancred. He was an original appointee to the STC board. He served as vice chairman and chairman of the STC for many, many years. Ray Hadley, the late Harry Tancred, was a great contributor to racing in this city.
Certainly the case, John, and a race worthy of carrying his name. Late show, 25 to 1 on the tote. A Bit Like the Kiwi horse, 14 to 1, but it's shorter than that in the ring by about 5 points. Fox Seal, 15 to 1. Astralin at 80s. Lack of Reason, 50s. The Vagrant, 100 to 1. Samasan at 50s. Playful Princess, 66. Dwanet Girl is 100 to 1. Tristark, 4 to 1, the Derby and Caulfield Cup winner. Al Sophia, 30 to 1. Tristram Rose, 80s. Now Bone Crusher, the Kiwi, 11 to 4. Rant and Rave at 6 to 1. Handy Proverb, the tote favourite at 5 to 2, but much better than that in the ring. Go down to the bottom one, Dolcezza at 33 to 1. John, just further to the news we had following the Golden Slipper about an altercation in the jockey's room. It's been confirmed that those two riders, in fact, approached each other, shaped up, but were pulled apart by attendants. There were no blows landed, and in fact, the AJ and STC stewards are still having that inquiry into that altercation between two leading jockeys. They're both on the premiership table, and we'll have more about it in the 9 News tonight for sure.
That's the type of inquiry that's likely to continue into next week. Now, Kenny Callender here today, of course, fielding with the big crowd at Rose Hill. He wasn't all that keen on the chances of bounding away, apparently, in the Golden Slipper a little earlier. I wonder what he thinks about the Tancred Stakes. Let's find out. Ken.
Well, the Tancred Stakes is the weight for age championship of Australia, and they tell me that Bone Crusher is the best thing to come out of New Zealand since Balmerino. And one chap this morning told me he was better than Balmerino. When I look at the form, he is a pretty good horse, but he hasn't run for 4 weeks. He only arrived here by plane this week, and he's got to run 2,400 metres. I'm going to have a couple of long columns against Bone Crusher, and if you want to back him, you head straight for me. He'll be short odds, but I'm prepared to take him on. The horse I like in the race isn't the local star Handy Proverb. I thought his barrier might beat him. I like Rant and Rave. Last week, I think all his jockey was doing was worrying about Mick Dittman on Easter. And all Mick Dittman was doing was worrying about Rant and Rave. Easter collapsed coming to the turn, and Rant and Rave ran home strongly to just get beaten for second. He finished in 3rd spot. Today, he's got a good box. I think he'll be near the lead all the way, and I reckon he'll nearly get the cash.
Good on you, Ken. Great to see that smiling face once again on Wide World of Sports, and he certainly lost none of that famous exuberance or confidence. Now, moving up on the outside of the field here is Tristram Rose, and they're about set and ready to run. A big field of 16 in the Bowater Scott Tancred Stakes for 1986. $500,000 in prize money staring them in the face. Starter moves over, a run of 400 to the winning post, and then one complete circuit of the track. 3-year-olds very strongly represented. Playful Princess a little fidgety, but the gates open and they're off in the Tancred. Rant and Rave, the West Aussie, is about the first out. The filly Dolcezza began well, and so did Tristark and the Vagrant and Late Show. Handy Proverb is trapped out deep in the early part, and even wider Tristram Rose and Playful Princess racing down to the judge on the first occasion, and the Vagrant took up the running. The Vagrant led over Dolcezza, Tristark, Late Show, Tristram Rose 3 deep as they greet the judge the first time, and then Al Sophia, Playful Princess, Rant and Rave easing back to be midfield. Handy Proverb 3 and 4 deep going out of the straight, and then A Bit Like Her. Further back came Lack of Reason, followed by Bone Crusher, Dwanet's Girl, Astralin, Fox Seal back at the tail of the field, and Samazan's about 3rd last now as they start the run over the crossing at the 1800 mark, and the Vagrant in front by a length and a half to Tristark. Dolcezza 3rd. Late Show is close. Handy on the rails about 5th. Al Sophia. Tristram Rose can't get on the track. Between runners, Playful Princess on the fence. Rant and Rave. Handy Proverb pulling hard about midfield, followed by A Bit Like a 3 wide, Lack of Reason. Then Dwanet's Girl and Bone Crusher, followed by Samazan and Astralin, and Fox Seal dropped out to be last as they wheeled their way into the back straight. 1300 left to go, and the leader is the Vagrant, a half length on Tristram Rose, who's had a hard run. Dolcezza 3rd, Tristark 4th on the outside at the 1200 mark. Further back then is Al Sophia. Handy Proverb covering ground 3 deep on the outside of his stablemate Late Show. Lack of Reason also covering a lot of extra territory, and there goes A Bit Like Her. A Bit Like Her, one of the New Zealanders, made a lightning move around the outside, headed them off and raced to the lead now. A Bit Like Her shot to the front, coming to the 800 mark by a length and a half to the Vagrant. In 3rd place, Handy Proverb.